Hello, welcome to Friends at Filmcamp, the podcast where two friends gab by the fire about fun film perspectives. I'm Jillian.
And I'm Luke.
Today we're discussing Frozen.
Frozen is a 2013 Walt Disney animation film. It was, at the time of its release, the fifth most successful film of all time. The film is directed by Chris Buck and Jennifer Lee. Jennifer Lee now being the head creative officer at Walt Disney Animation. The film follows the story of Princess Elsa and of Arendelle as she goes through the journey of her ice powers with her sister, Princess Anna. And they have wonderful adventures. It's Frozen. You've probably seen it. So, Jinian, what did you think of Frozen?
Okay. I had not bad intentions. I didn't have a good impression of Frozen before seeing it, which is why I had never seen it before. So I had bad feelings towards it, but I was willing to like it. That being said, I didn't like it.
Yeah, I could tell by your facial reactions watching the film.
Yeah.
I've never seen you have so many different ways to look at a movie with anger.
I think it's just like... bad movies don't bother me that much, but because I know that this movie did so well, it bothers me that it's bad.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm very interesting. Yeah.
So, what about the film bothered you? So, like, in terms of its plot, what bothered you so much about it?
Okay, what bothered me about the plot? I found everything very underdeveloped in terms of, like, the characters. They were often not super defined, but what really bothered me was the character relationships. Like, Elsa and Anna's relationship is central to the movie, and it's really important that we, like, care about them, and we only had one scene of build-up to get us to care before they are separated and they're not allowed to talk to each other, so we have no more development of the sibling relationship, and then it's central for the rest of the movie. Like, I needed more interaction for me to, like, care about that and to understand the relationship.
Well, they had more than one scene together before. They had, I think, 2 whole musical numbers in the intro.
Not 2. They only have the one where they build the snowman.
And then they have a song called Do You Want to Build a Snowman?
Yeah, but that's not them together.
No, but that's them growing apart.
That's not them growing apart. That's them never interacting again. Which I can't even be fully invested in because there's only one scene before that where I even saw them interact. I needed more of them so that I'm invested in their relationship before they're separated. I want to feel very sad that they can't be together. I want that to be, like, dramatic. And because I only saw them together once, it's, like, not as dramatic as it could have been.
Okay. And do storybook rules apply in that regard?
What do you mean?
The need to get a story moving, so they just expect you to understand the relationships before.
I don't know. Is that storybook rules?
I would say that would fall under fairy tale rules. In the same way that in most Disney films, you can accept the fact that they fall in love with someone in 10 seconds solely for the fact that if they showed you falling in love with it for the proper amount of time to fall in love, it would take a really long part of the movie and there's another plot that has to be told.
Yeah.
So saying that 2 sisters love each other is a reasonable expectation of the audience, I would say. Yeah, but because, okay, so for a musical especially, right, you tell a lot through music. And I do agree that there is, like, a suspension of disbelief to believe sort of, like, great strides are made through, like, one song. Which, like, I know you've told me this before when I have, like, problems with musicals. You're like, it's musical logic. So, I can understand that. But I think... which we'll talk about later when we go to, like, the music. If I think to, like, the opening Entangled with Mother Gothel, I think that song, specifically the song and the musical number, told me a lot about not only the current state
of Mother Gothel and Rapunzel's relationship at that moment, but the past of it, there was like an implied past where I didn't get that detail from the opening song.
Okay,
if that makes sense.
So you weren't getting an established relationship built strong enough for the film to have a meaningful impact on you beyond that moment.
Yeah. I think even ignoring what I said before where I wanted more build up, if the song had more to it, then maybe I would have been able to like accept that. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Wait, before do you like the movie?
I enjoy the movie. I don't think it's a good movie,
Mm-hmm.
but I get joy from watching the movie.
Do you think it's like on par with other Disney princess movies?
Yes, but not in the same way. Other films do other things than this one.
Okay.
Other Disney films focus on very romance development and focus on a very different narrative of growth, of structure, in terms of moving characters through their story than Frozen does.
Hmm.
Frozen is so focused on the relationship of the sisters, which I can understand why you would find it difficult. But I think that when it has those strong moments, it really excels in the sister relationship
Mm-hmm.
compared to other films, which are more about the adventure to end with love. This is a film about regaining it,
Yeah.
which is a very nice way, I think, to move forward the Disney princess narrative.
Yeah. No, I see that. And none of my problems were with the ideas in the plot. I actually like a lot of the broad strokes, if that makes sense. I just felt that the how those broad strokes were built up to and how they were connected weren't as strong as they could have been, which made me like less invested than I wanted to be.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
I want to bring us to the point in the film,
Yeah.
essentially the start of the scenes from when Elsa reveals her powers onward.
Yeah.
Because I think by that point, the relationship aspect shouldn't have been a burden in the same way, because you would have known what the film was wanting you to get.
What do you mean?
The film, even if you weren't able to get the relationship before, when Elsa reveals her powers and runs away,
Mm-hmm.
and Anna says, I'm going to go after her, I think the audience now understands, even if the film didn't do the best job showing their relationship, that they have a strong one and they want and else Anna's going. So I'm kind of wanting to focus on that right now.
Okay.
What did you think of the climbing up and down the mountain? Which, before anything, which is the thing I thought during the movie, was, for a mountain, people can get up and down that thing really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So it's clearly not that big of a mountain.
No. Well, okay. So, first of all, the whole inciting incident was, okay, I think music is just going to be intertwined with the plot, as it should be with a musical. But I think the inciting incident for Elsa kind of going bad, like she didn't go fully bad, which I think she should have.
She didn't go bad at all. She just showed her powers and people got scared.
Yeah.
She didn't do anything evil.
I guess the inciting incident for her running away then. What?
Yeah, it's her revealing her powers and running away.
Well, she doesn't like reveal them. Like, it's not a conscious.
No, but her powers are revealed.
Yes. And her running away was. Okay, I felt like that should have been a really big moment, and I wanted more to go into that moment as well. Anyway, besides the point. So, then, as soon as she runs away, we have Let It Go. And that was fucking weird to me, because I felt like that that felt like a sad moment. She just got run out of the kingdom. Everyone, like, thought she was awful. She ran away from her sister. She's gonna go live by herself. And suddenly we're, like, triumphant. Like, that felt like it needed to be we hadn't even really had the, like, that was the song where you overcome your struggles. And it's like we hadn't even had the struggle part of the movie yet. And we were overcoming it before we struggled. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That took me so off guard. I mean, when we watched it, I was like, this is happening right now. Like, it was in, like, the first act, wasn't it? Or the beginning of the second. Like, that was a third act song.
Okay. I think just overall, Frozen has a problem balancing where they put their songs. And
yeah.
It's very front heavy, and then they just stop.
That's true. But, I didn't even notice that there's, like, no songs later.
But, I agree that even the first time I watched it, I didn't realize how much of a tonal shift.
Yeah.
She, like, runs away, and then Anna is like, I'm gonna go get her.
Yeah.
And then Elsa is just in the mountains, very, like, good thing that's over with.
Yeah.
And it's like, but you were very sad a moment ago.
Yeah. It's like she's, like, overcome a huge burden, but that wasn't the tone of the previous scene. See, if the tone of the previous scene was, like, Elsa getting angry or deciding, you know, I'm not gonna hide anymore. I'm going to show them, like, I'm a scary ice lady and I don't care about any of you anymore and I'm running away to live in the mountains. Then it would make more sense that she's like, oh, now I fucking got rid of those people. But because it was, like, against her will, like, it was an accidental decision, it was, like, it was a very weird tonal shift.
If Elsa had chosen to reveal her powers,
yeah,
then she could say she's being triumphant. But she didn't choose any of that.
Yeah.
The only thing she chose was to run away.
And the tone was very sad, because, like, her people who she supposedly knew all her life, and, like, her kingdom, who's supposed to love her, thought she was, like, a scary, like, monster, which normally in movies you're not happy about.
No, I agree with that tonal shift. I think, that's a good moment to bring up the original plot of the films. I know you actually said you had a different version of the film.
Yes.
That you've created. And so I was curious if you could say what your original version is, and then I could read what Entertainment Weekly reported was the original version of the script.
Okay, so the opening music sequence to the film, when we first saw it, I was like, that's fine. But as we got further into the film, I kind of got mad at it because I didn't felt like it did anything. In terms of it, like, maybe kind of established the world and it introduced us to Kristoff, but we could have been introduced to him later. It wasn't necessary to the film, which I thought that it would have been. Why are you looking at me like that? Okay.
Okay, I'll say it now. Okay. I saw it as an equivalent to an overture.
Yes.
So instead of just having lots of music playing, they just had a scene in place of the overture to set the tone of the movie, in that it's cold, it's icy, etc., etc. And then Kristoff was thrown in there as a cute extra.
The reason I have a problem with it is not it of its own merit, it's the fact that I think they needed that time and they didn't use it correctly. So, my alternate plot, as I was writing as we watched the movie, was I think that scene should have been Anna, Elsa, and their parents being a happy family, right? I think their parents should be talking to Elsa and being like, you cannot use your ice powers around your sister. It's dangerous. You shouldn't do it. Maybe they were playing earlier and, like, something happened and they're like, don't do it. And then that scene later where Anna convinces her to go play with her ice powers for fun. She's a kid. It's not her fault. But they break the rules after they've already been told not to do this. And then I think it should be directly Elsa's fault. Like, by accident. But it should be her fault that she hits Anna. Because I think that she's already kind of guilty. But it's really established that it isn't her fault. I think it should be her fault. Because I think that is important for her to later turn into the villain in my version of the script. So,
it's her fault, but by accident. Everyone feels very bad. They do the whole, they have to be separated, Anna can't, like, know about the powers thing. But I think that they should write letters to each other or have some form of communication while they are physically separated so that they can continue to have a relationship while still having a barrier between them that they're not allowed to cross, and Anna doesn't know why they aren't. So then, at some point, which kind of happens in Anna's musical number in the castle, which I think is nice. I actually like this idea. Sorry, what?
You mean for the first time in forever?
Yes. Where Anna, which we see when we do the coronation, she's kind of become obsessed with the idea of true love, and I think that's a response from her being extremely lonely.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually really like that. I think that makes a lot of sense, and I also think it's a very interesting commentary on Disney movies as a whole and how they've treated romance previously.
I think that's a really good thing. It's kind of taking what Tangled started with how great amount of isolation would impact you.
Yeah.
And like really going into it with a character that explains also why she's quirky later on, because she hasn't really talked to anyone who wasn't a servant since she was like 6 years old.
So I really like that. And I think when around the same time that Anna becomes obsessed with the idea of true love in response to her loneliness, she should become like upset or annoyed with Elsa because she's fed up with them being separated when Elsa's the only person who's like someone she can hang out with, and she's not allowed to hang out with her, and she doesn't know why. And she said something to Elsa like an ultimatum or something like that, where she's like come hang out with me, or like I'm not writing you anymore, something like that you would write to your sister. And then during the coronation, when Anna meets Hans, or like it doesn't have to be Hans, it's like some other person, I think she should want to leave. And I think that should set off Elsa completely. And I think Elsa should become a villain. Not irredeemably so, because I think she should be redeemed at the end. But I think that should set her off. And it didn't make any sense to me that her people okay, Disney movies have had so many famous evil queens. Just because you're an evil queen, it doesn't mean you don't have a kingdom. I think Elsa should get the kingdom. I think she should kind of... I can picture a really cool sequence where she turns the castle into like an ice castle. Kind of similar to the one that already exists, but it's for her own castle that she's like fucking up. And I think she should banish Anna away or something similar. But the twist of this all is that in Elsa deciding to turn evil, reveal her powers, and do all this fucked up shit, Anna is gonna now know why they were separated this whole time, and she's gonna feel bad for kind of shutting Elsa off and not talking to her anymore. And she's gonna want to come back to Elsa and try to mend the relationship and bring Elsa back from like the brink that she's coming from.
Yes, I think that's a very interesting point on the original, or on the plot, and I like the idea of Elsa having more control in what happens to her.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot in this movie, stuff happens to her, but she has no say in how or what it happens.
Yeah.
Stuff happens and she reacts. And it just... Well, the powers, I think, are enough of that. Mm-hmm. The powers happen to her. And so she doesn't have any self-determination. So when the inciting incident starts, that should be Elsa taking control of stuff, but not knowing how to do it.
Plus, I love the idea of Elsa being, like, taking complete control of her kingdom, and
And that would even be like a more appropriate place to then have Let It Go. I know you said the original reason they changed it was Disney didn't think Let It Go was a good song for a villain. Do you know why?
Disney essentially looked at the songs, and this is all technically speculation.
Okay.
But from what I've heard in rumors, and I'm sure it's been talked about elsewhere, is that Disney, while making the movie, Elsa was more evil, and we're going to talk about what's been reported as the original plot. But essentially, they felt that Let It Go was too strong of a song to be sung by the villain, and it was too positive, too redeeming for a bad character to sing. So they reworked the whole film around Let It Go, which makes it even a little weirder that there's such a tonal shift in those scenes.
I feel like that's really strange because, like, historically, haven't villains have like awesome songs?
Yes, but they're always songs proclaiming
like Sinister?
evil. They're proclaiming evil. This is Elsa proclaiming control.
I think the thing, though, with my proposed version, and maybe the original version, I don't know, I don't think Elsa, even in my version where she kind of goes way more evil than she does in this version of the movie, she's not a classic Disney villain in that she's like irredeemable. Like she still it's kind of a different version of a Disney movie where she's still the second protagonist. Like, you're supposed to empathize and understand where she's coming from, even though she's making bad decisions. And the decisions are never like, you know, I'm gonna kill everyone in town, or like something like that, where it's like very bad. It's sort of like, basically like a trauma response or something to her being cooped up this entire time with like even less interaction than Anna's had, and like feeling like so shameful about who she is for so long. And then, like, going too far in the opposite direction. But it's, like, not to the point that you don't understand where she's coming from. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Do you want to hear about the research I've done into the original version of this film?
Yes.
Okay. So this movie has been worked on for way longer than you think it has.
Okay.
As in, this film originally was being started in 1937. So this was
1930s. Oh, yeah, because of the Snow Queen, right?
Yes. Walt Disney wanted to make a version of the Snow Queen, and it kind of was one of those projects that was continuously put on the shelf and stopped and started, and then eventually led to this film. But the original version of this film's story, according to James Hilbert of Entertainment Weekly, he reports that originally Elsa was much more villain-oriented. The film originally, Elsa and Anna were not sisters. They were just two people.
Yeah.
And that prophecy that's at the start of the film that we kind of hear about the little troll people.
Yeah.
That say that Frozen is beautiful but dangerous.
Yeah.
Originally, it was going to be that someone told the world a prophecy that someone of a frozen heart was going to destroy the kingdom. And since Elsa had like freezing powers, everyone was like, it's gonna be that person with the freezing powers because frozen heart.
Yeah.
And her heart was frozen because she got left at the altar or something.
Okay.
Something equivalent to that.
Yeah.
And so she becomes all evil and destroys the kingdom. And then Hans turns out to be the actual villain because he was going to destroy the whole part of Arendelle.
Oh, so he's in the original script.
Yes.
That's surprising to me.
I know. I will get back to that in one moment. I'm very surprised by it too. But originally, Anna has to convince Elsa to stop the avalanche that's going to destroy Arendelle because the frozen heart was Hans, not Elsa.
Yeah.
So she is evil the whole time and gets redeemed at the end.
Why is Anna the one who has to go if they're not related?
Because Anna's the good one. Anna's just the one of pure heart.
She's like a Barbie character.
Yeah, essentially. I'm sure it would have been more than that, but these are just
They're
quick
like,
synopses
yeah.
reported from what Christian Bell has said.
They're like, you're the best one around, go fix it.
Well, I'm sure if she's a princess, she has, like, responsibilities to the kingdom or
I guess
whatever.
that makes sense.
But point being. But yeah, the thing that surprised me about this original ending, more than anything else, was that Hans was still in it.
Yeah.
Because Hans feels like such an afterthought, even in the film itself. Because this has bothered me in the film.
Mm.
He's evil.
Yes.
I guess if we didn't say it before, spoiler alert for Frozen. But Hans is evil, and it doesn't work for me because when he first meets Anna at the docks, they're like cute and flirty for whatever, and then Anna leaves and we have the camera cut to him. And he has the most heartwarming, sincere smile when no one's looking at him.
Yeah.
And even like the looking scenes, like him helping in the town to get goodwill, I can see that working.
Yeah.
It's that one scene. They cut to him smiling when no one's looking.
Mm-hmm.
He's genuinely happy that he got to talk with Anna.
Mm.
And not in like a sinister way.
Do you mean he's an afterthought as in him, it felt like him being evil was an afterthought?
Yes.
Yeah.
He like, it didn't even seem like in the context of this story, they realized as they were writing it, we need a villain that's not Elsa. Yes, it's Hans, because who else can it be?
Yeah.
But that doesn't work for me because he was nice in a sincere way in that one moment.
No, and if I feel like if Elsa is the villain, you don't need Hans, really. And you need somebody that Anna's gonna, like, run away with. But you don't need Hans at the end of the movie, you know what I mean? But, interestingly, actually, because a major issue I have with this movie is the relationship building.
Yes.
Hans and Anna's relationship building was kind of the only one I liked. Like,
yes.
Like, they really wanted you to like him. And so I feel like they put in more effort than they did with a lot of the other characters. For the twist, I don't know. But, like, their song where they were, like, kind of, like, falling in love or falling in lust or whatever.
Love is an open door.
Yeah. That was, like, I felt like that told me more than a lot of the other songs about, like, the two of them and their building relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I actually liked the beginning of their relationship a lot more than the other characters, between the other characters in the film.
Mm-hmm. I would agree that they have, like, a strong, for a Disney musical, they have a strong build into the relationship.
Yeah.
And it kind of only turns out to be a bit of a modern feminist Disney moment, where Elsa has to be like, what? You can't marry someone you just met on the same day.
Yeah. And
I've never liked that in new modern films, because it just feels very patronizing to the audience, where it's like, we get it.
Yeah.
This is also a fairy tale with a magic ice princess.
Not only is it like a fairy tale, but it's also like, I don't know what time it's based in, but it's in the past and it's royalty. And in those cases, which are normally the cases for Disney films, marrying people very quickly is very common. And
also, it fits really well with Anna's character. They spend a lot of time, basically 2 whole songs, setting up that Anna really wants love because she's alone. It's weird that they would spend so much time on that, but forget to build up enough relationship with Elsa, who's the crux of the film.
Yeah.
And I actually really love that this film, in every version seemingly, at least the recent ones, the idea was that Elsa and Anna were the end friendship moral above all else.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
It's a new version of the Disney princess. But if they forget to build the relationship.
Ooh, okay, so speaking about the relationship, a continuation of my version of the film was Olaf, who I don't like, by the way.
I disagree.
You like Olaf?
Yes, we'll talk about it after.
Okay. I would prefer a different version of Olaf, but the character, basically, I think when Elsa goes evil, he gets manifested by accident. Because he is a representation of her relationship with Anna. Kind of basically as he is in this version of the movie. And I think he is there constantly as sort of a, almost like a Jiminy Cricket, as like a moral person who is, not loyal, but he's connected to Elsa because she made him. So he's like there a lot and he's helping her. And I actually think it should be very similar to the actual film, where the first time Anna comes, it doesn't work out. And Elsa, what does she do? She like shoots her and Anna leaves. With ice, not with a gun.
Anna tells her that the kingdom's frozen over. Elsa freaks out because she didn't mean to and she doesn't know how to fix it.
Yeah.
And in her freak out, she releases a huge ice wave power and one hits Anna in the heart and it freezes her heart, which the trolls told us at the start. If your heart is frozen, you can't fix it without love.
Yeah. So I actually think it should be similar, that the first time Anna goes, the conversation would be different, obviously, because the circumstances are different, but I think it should not work out. And then I think Olaf should leave Elsa and go help Anna, and then together they're able to, like, you know, get through to her.
Well, I think that's really cool. But while we're on the topic, Olaf.
Yeah.
I like Olaf.
Okay.
I like Olaf. Disney is always going to have a cute comedic character.
Yes.
That Disney's going to Disney. In an ideal world, maybe they have a script that doesn't need it. But that's not what Disney does. Disney needs to sell toys too.
You know what?
But
Sorry,
I'm going
go
to defend Olaf because unlike a lot of comedic relief, like Timon and Pumbaa or the Gargoyles and Hunchback of Notre Dame, those characters got their laughs by being loud and obnoxious.
Mm-hmm.
Olaf gets his laughs by being quiet and obnoxious, which is just nice as a change. He tells his jokes in whispers, and it's cool because then you kind of have to listen, and it's very going on the naive child idea that he is with the story. Yeah. So that's why I like him, because I like how it's a different take on comedic characters that gives the audience more respect than other ones.
Yes. Okay. No, I agree with you. I think I am overstating when I say I don't like Olaf. What I don't like about Olaf, honestly, doesn't have anything to do with anything he does or says. So I like Olaf fine. I think what I don't like about him is I don't like his character design, and I don't like the choice of voice actor. He creeps me out.
I like his character design. I can understand the voice actor thing. I think Josh Gad is a very particular
I think especially
person.
With how almost childlike, how like childlike he is. I don't know. It just would have been nice to have sort of like a younger, cuter voice, like a kid or something.
Well, it was interesting in the casting of this film.
Yeah.
Disney went for Broadway actors primarily, like Idina Menzel and Jonathan Groff and Josh Gad. He plays oh my gosh, I'm forgetting.
Kristoff?
He plays Kristoff, yes, the Iceman.
We should talk about Kristoff.
But I think it's interesting. So, yeah, let's go through the characters actually.
Okay.
Because we kind of have touched on them. We've talked about Olaf. Did you have anything else you wanted to add about Anna? I think Kristen Bell does a really good job with her role. Like, whatever you think of the role, I'm always, when she sings, I'm pleasantly like, wow, that's a good voice and this is good work, even if I don't like this joke.
Yeah, Anna's fine. I don't feel strongly about her one way or another, though I did really like her dress designs.
Okay. Let's go to Kristoff.
Okay, so unlike most characters in this movie, I really like the design of Kristoff. I like that he's different. I know that he, or a very similar character to him, was supposed to be in Tangled. Originally as her love interest, and then they decided to go with Flynn Rider instead. And I think, I might be wrong, but I think they kind of used their original idea for Flynn and kind of moved him over to Kristoff, which I think is a good fit. I was kind of confused, having never seen the movie before. When he was first introduced, I was expecting him to be really nice, and it 100% admittedly could have been my preconceived notions, but I had a very hard time getting a read on who he was as a character until we got to the trolls. Once we got to the trolls, I actually really liked that scene. I really liked that scene. I liked the trolls. I liked the troll song and how much it told us. So I found that good, and then I found him after the troll song a lot more readable and consistent, if that made sense. I don't know. How did you find him when we first saw him? Because I never could predict how he was going to react to things.
I could. I got it as like a kind of a venturing dude bro, but like not an obnoxious dude bro. Just like the type of guy who's like, let's go hiking every weekend and works hard on a job. And so he's like a lot, but he's not obnoxious. But I understand your perspective that they don't spend a whole lot of time developing him or anyone really, but him in particular, him also is subjected to. He is also subjected to that.
Yeah.
In that,
I just think if you compare him to Flynn Rider, since I think they're connected, I think in the first scene you see of Flynn Rider, from how he behaves to his character design, you have an understanding of who he is as a character. I found, personally at least, the design of Kristoff and how he was acting when we first met him kind of like incongruous. It didn't match up to me where I met the character and I knew who they were. Not that I think I came around to liking him. But yeah, I kind of had like a hard time where I like wanted to like him, but then he was kind of acting like an asshole, which wasn't really what I wanted from him. Like I kind of wanted him to be like a cozy mountain man with his like silly friend, which is the vibes he was giving off, but it wasn't like the attitude he was giving me. Do you know what I mean?
I do know. I do get what you're saying. I understand that, yeah. I would agree for the most part. I think that he could have been more developed. I got what they were going for, and I'm more accepting, I think, than you of just characters being like, he's this trope, let's move on. We'll develop more later.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with it more so than I think you were, but I get what you're saying. But, and that he took a while to develop.
Very admittedly, my issue with his character could be that he wasn't what I wanted from him. From the little I had seen of the movie previously. I had an expectation for him to be sort of like sweet and soft, and he like was not that. He was kind of grumpy and an asshole, and I was like, that's not what I signed up for. So it very much could just be that it wasn't what I wanted from him.
That's interesting, yeah. Yeah, I think we've talked about the characters in the plot a lot. I think we should talk about the music next, and then we'll circle back to the other thing later.
Okay.
Because I think we're on the plot of the music. We did talk about it before. The music is very front-loaded, as in we have, within the first 10 minutes, we have like 3 songs, and then we have all but one of the songs done by the 1/3 mark, basically.
Yeah.
And then we wait till 2/3 and we get one more song, and that's it.
What even is the last song? I don't remember.
It's the troll song that you liked.
The troll song's the last song?
Yes.
Wow.
Because the order of the songs starts with that ice song that you felt was a waste of time.
Yeah.
And then it goes to Do You Want to Build a Snowman? And then For the First Time in Forever, Love's an Open Door, Let It Go, In the Summer, which I forgot was the song.
In the Summer. With Olaf.
Let It Go, and the fixer-upper troll song. So there really is a normal amount of songs here. And I don't even think that this is wrong in other movies. A lot of musicals do this when you think about it in their other films. But it bothers me here because the earlier songs are so quick together and so much filler, it almost feels like.
Yeah.
Which they're not filler. They serve a purpose, so I don't know why I kind of get a filler.
It would have been nice for us to have a big song at the end, which had to do with, like, even if Elsa's in prison. You know, when she's in prison? Like,
a prison song about why she's sad.
Yeah, like something that leads us into the finale, like something from Anna while she's very, like, cold, but maybe she's still thinking about Elsa and she's still worried about her even though, like, she's dying. Just, like, something that would also give us more of that, like, character and those, like, character relationships that I was wanting. But yeah, you're right. It feels like we need a big last song. Because, like, that troll song, even though I really liked it compared to the other songs, like,
it's a poor conclusion.
It's not a closeout song.
Well, it's not the closeout song, but thankfully it's not near the end of the film. We have a whole third act and climax that we have to get through. I know you haven't seen it, and we'll probably talk about it some other day on the podcast, but Frozen 2 does a much better job spreading their songs throughout and using them more particularly. I know that there's that famous saying by some Disney music makers that says, if you can take a song sequence out of the film, and if the story would still make sense, the song is done wrong.
Yes.
And for this film, you can't really do that, but you can almost do that.
Yeah.
Which bothers me, because the songs are important, but they're not important enough.
They're saying something and that they're not completely irrelevant, but they're not saying as much as they could. Especially in a musical where, like, normally songs pull a lot of the heavy weight of the storytelling and the relationships, as we've brought up. So it's like, it's not that they aren't doing anything, but normally they would be doing more than they are.
But the thing is, every song on their own, I enjoyed.
Okay.
Like, I think they're all well-written songs. They're catchy. They're memorable. I think they're really good. I Let It Go, I think, is a really good song. I wish the tonal shift wasn't there. But otherwise, I like the song. And I like the way that they portray the scenes with the songs. I just think that the entirety of it doesn't contribute enough to the plot, which is disappointing.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Music is so personal. But I have just okay, I've never like Let It Go from the first time I heard it when it was very popular when this film came out.
Looks like our podcast has just been canceled.
And it's part of the reason I never watched the film, because I deduced from how like insane that song was that it was the best song in the movie. And I didn't like any of the songs in the movie. I liked the troll song for plot purposes, for what it told me, and I liked the set pieces that they did along with it, but the actual song I don't remember. I really don't remember any song from the film, but to be fair, I'm very picky. I'm not very picky with songs in general, but I'm very picky with Disney songs in that I expect a lot from them, and they're very easy to disappoint me. Like, I don't remember a lot of the songs from Tangled either. So, I don't know if it's, like, specifically a thing, like, it's specifically Frozen's fault. No, I think it's more of a Disney thing overall with me, because I can't think of a recent film where I've been really, like, into the music. Which I want to be, you know?
Well, I think part of the issue is that Disney has changed how it tells its stories to do a lot more plot twists, which means characters can't have certain songs till it's too late in the story.
Yeah.
Which is why I like a lot more of the music from Princess and the Frog.
Yeah.
Because that does a more classic story. So you get some great villain songs. You get great establishing songs.
Yeah.
Because they're doing it in the traditional way.
It kind of goes along with, like, the loss of the traditional Disney villain, right?
Yeah.
It's like they don't want us to predict what's going on anymore. But it's to the detriment of some stuff that we, like, know and love from, like, the old Disney films.
So I would agree. I think that the lack of Disney villains has hurt Disney's animation more than I think Disney realizes. But the films are still doing well. I mean, Frozen was the 5th most successful, so clearly it's connecting in the audiences. I just think it leads to less memorable songs and sequences because so much of the story has to go to the twist, which you can't really sing about as well.
Yeah, you can't sing about it because then we know. Though that would be really cute if we had somebody sing about how they were, like, two-timing, but then the plot just, like, acted like we didn't know that, kind of like how plays do sometimes, where, like, someone will talk to the audience like, I'm a bad guy, but they don't know about it. That'd be really cute. And then, like, there's a twist, but it's only a twist for the characters and not for the audience, because we knew from the cute song. That'd be kind of cute. That would be a cute way for them to sort of do, like, because now the Disney twist villain is tired. They've done that too much.
Yes.
That would be, like, a cute way for them to kind of subvert the thing that they've, like, established.
Yes, I would agree. I think the twist villain has worn its welcome out at Disney, and it's just becoming very expected at this point.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Okay, does that mean I can talk about the animation?
Yes, you've been really looking forward to talking about the animation.
Okay, so the other reason I had never seen this movie until now is the animation. I wasn't really part of it, but I was there when the first character designs for Frozen came out, and there was an uproar because Elsa, Anna, and Rapunzel from Tangled, and Rapunzel's mom from Tangled all have almost identical faces, and it's just sad to see that repetition, because it just feels lazy to me.
I disagree with you.
Why?
I think it's just the modern Disney style. In the same way, I don't complain that Ariel, Belle,
Oh my
Jasmine,
god,
etc.
I complain so much. I hate that.
I don't complain about how they look similar because they're not the same characters. They're different characters. They just have the Disney look brand.
It's so lazy, though.
I don't think it's that
I want
lazy.
different faces from my animation. Everyone looks the same in real life. Animation is to animate it. Is to make things like, I miss, like, in Atlantis, everyone was really pointy. And they all had really... Why did you make a face at Atlantis? How dare you? Everyone was really pointy, and they had very specific character designs that went with the vibe of the story. And they would change them, like, not huge, like, revolutionary, completely different shit, but, like, they would change and tweak how they drew people and how they drew the backgrounds for each film to go with the vibe of the film. And it's like every film had its unique presence because they were all... Everything was specified to the story of that film. And I don't find that they're doing that anymore. And that makes me really sad because I find it boring to look at. And it speaks to me of a lack of care. I
think when I've described what Elsa and Anna look like, this Frozen captures what these characters would look like in this story. This story would work with this animation style for 3D. This is just what I see when I think of these characters. This is the style that fits these stories. And I think it gets some of that interesting visuals that you're looking for with Elsa's ice powers.
No.
Particularly the castle building.
Okay, here's the thing. The animation in this film makes me so mad. And I apologize, because I know you like some of it, but it makes me so mad. Okay,
throughout the film is so dark. And it's because it's so dark. If you look in the background, there's no detail. If you look at the castle walls, most of them are flat or they're very lightly detailed. And it's dark so that they can get away with that. For the majority of the film, besides the snow, which is the opposite, which is white, also very easy to animate, in the scenes where there would be more detail, like when they are on the boat at the end, when everything has sod, the background is very dark and only the main characters are in highlight. These are all tricks that require you to do less detail. If you compare that with Sleeping Beauty, where they decided to do a wider frame for no reason. They just decided to do that, and they animated the forest. They put all this detail into the forest and to the background. The care and the effort that went into that compared to doing these tricks that let you get away with less detail is just massive.
I don't think these tricks are as prevalent as you saw them. I think you saw one scene that was darker, and you kept it going.
No.
There are scenes in this movie where the animation is not great, particularly that ballroom scene where no one is moving in the background very much. I think that's a abhorrently bad scene, animation-wise. But otherwise, I think the animation is fine.
No.
And Elsa's ice powers, I think, are...
It is not
I think
detailed.
Elsa's ice powers are really well done.
They use, even with her ice powers, they like to contrast it against black, which again lets them get away with having no detail. All of this stuff is very rushed. Feeling, at least. I don't know if it was in person.
Well, I would imagine, in the context of what you're referring to, the rushed parts might refer to the sudden transition from story elements, but I don't think it was that I don't think this animation's as bad as you say it is.
I heavily disagree. Also, if you look at them, there's like no detail. Nobody except Elsa and Anna have detail on their clothes and their like dresses, especially that I don't know what was going on with the coronation scene. Their
coronation
skin,
scene, we both agree, is just a mess.
Their skin is so smooth. Like everything, I feel like I can see the gray 3D animation models underneath the layers. It's like there's not enough layers of detail on top of them. There's the bare minimum that they could get away with.
I don't know if I agree on this, your description of the animation. Like, I get what you're saying, and that they did the tricks, and maybe they should have hid some of their tricks better. Because every film has tricks. They just probably, you haven't seen them yet.
Okay. The reason I have a problem with this is specifically because it's Disney. Because a lot of smaller companies who don't have huge budgets, they're not like super established, they use all these tricks because they don't have a lot of money and they have to, basically, and I'm fine with that. The reason I have a problem with it is specifically because it's Disney, and I know that they don't need to do it. I know that they have the money and the potential and the people and the resources to really care about their projects and to not have to cut corners like this. So I don't blame the animators, because I suspect with the freaking late script changes and stuff, they probably were rushed. They were probably rushed by the corporation who needed it out at a certain time, which is bad planning. So it's it's not even that it's like lazy or rushed, it's that it's lazy and rushed, and it's from Disney, and they should know better and they should do better because they've established themselves as being better than that.
Well, that ball scene was unforgivable in terms of background characters. Like, it's just
Disney. They have
moving.
all the money and all the resources. They're not a little like animation studio that like can't afford to do more, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree with that sentiment.
Okay, so overall, I don't like the movie, and as I established, it's not because of any particular thing that happens in the movie. I actually like the potential the movie has. I think it's that abundant amount of wasted potential that makes me not like it. Like, it's so much worse, for me at least, to, if a movie's just bad, I can enjoy it for being bad, and it's not, like, it doesn't upset me. But if something is almost really good, or it could have been really good, and it's not, through missed opportunities and very fixable solutions, that's when it really bothers me, and I feel like that's where this movie lands for me.
I think that the film has a lot of great moments, and in the end, I got a fun energy out of it. And I want my movies to be fun above all else. Especially after rewatching it, there's a lot of structural issues, there's a lot of tonal issues, and there's just a lot of stuff that I'm like, they could have done better at that. Mm-hmm. But in the end, I have a fun time watching Frozen.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. Well, I think that is going to be everything for today on Friends at Filmcamp. Thank you for listening to today's episode, and we will see you next time at Filmcamp.